Hello everyone and welcome back to Phantom Sports Industries. My name is Joe Soisson. I'm a contributor for Phantom's hockey content. Today we start looking at the Western Conference. The Central Division is next up on the docket. Once again, we start from the bottom and work our way to the top. So here we go. These are my preseason predictions for the Central Division in the NHL. Starting off at number 8, I put the Chicago Blackhawks. Last year, they had a bunch of young stars step up, like Bedard and Kurashev. But I loved what they did this offseason. Look at all the veterans they brought in. Teuvo Teravainen, outside of the bubble year, he's been worth at least 35 points since 2015. Tyler Bertuzzi just had one of his better seasons in Toronto. Alec Martinez, 3-time Stanley Cup champion defenseman. TJ Brody, 14 years in the NHL, hasn't finished with a negative plus-minus since 2018. And Laurent Brossoit, last 2 regular seasons, he's had a save percentage of 92.7%, and in the last 4 regular seasons, he's averaging 2.37 goals against. Limited number of games, sure, but he may not have to be the starter with Peter Mrazek still in the lineup. The downside for Chicago, let's face it, they've got a lot to overcome still. Last year, they were 29th in goals against average and 32nd, aka dead last, in goals per game last year. So a lot of steps in the right direction were made by Chicago this offseason, but I still need to see this lineup in action before I say they're ready for a jump in the standings. I put the St. Louis Blues at number 7. There's 2 things I really like about the Blues. First, they added a bunch of pieces defensively. They added Ryan Suter, Pierre-Olivier Joseph, Corey Schueneman. They also picked up Philip Broberg from Edmonton, solid postseason from him last year. This was a stout defense in St. Louis already. They tied for 13th in goals against average. They'll be better this year. Second, Jordan Binnington had an inspiring return to form last season. He had been on a downward trend since the Stanley Cup in 2019. But this year, 2.84 goals against average, 91.3 save percentage, that's a massive improvement from the year prior. However, I have them down here because of their offense. Last year, they finished tied for 24th in goals per game, and they signed 2 forwards this offseason, Radek Faksa from Dallas and Dylan Holloway from Edmonton. It's a similar case to Washington here. Is a change on the third line really enough? This is a division of teams that are built for track meets, and the Blues feel like they are the counter-meta team. They'll win games, but I think there's a ceiling for this squad. Next up at number 6, the Winnipeg Jets. A lot to cover here, not too many new faces added to the lineup outside of the goalie room, but it's Connor Hellebuck's job anyway. He just won his 2nd Vezina Trophy. He also won the William M. Jennings Trophy for the fewest goals scored against by goalies with at least 25 games played. So Connor Hellebuck will always give the Jets a chance to win. And the skaters on the Jets don't need many opportunities. They've got great forward depth again this year. 11 forwards on this team had at least 11 goals last season. And let's not forget Josh Morrissey, who finished 8th among defensemen in total points. But I've got concerns. First, they lost a lot of likable players this offseason. Sean Monahan's now in Columbus. Brendan Dillon's a New Jersey Devil. Tyler Toffoli's in San Jose. And I already mentioned how Laurent Brossoit is in Chicago. So Winnipeg still has good depth, but every single position took a hit this year. Secondly, their man-up, man-down units struggled last year. They were solid 5-on-5, but finished 22nd in power play percentage and 21st in penalty kill percentage. So they were in the bottom third when someone was in the box. And lastly, this is a tough spot for any coach to come into, including Scott Arniel. High expectations after last year's performance, paired with a brutal division with 2 or 3 of the top offenses in the league. They're in a good spot roster-wise, Winnipeg, but I think a lot has to go right for the Jets to improve upon last year. Now I'm excited about number 5. I picked the Utah Hockey Club. This young core has now played together for a significant period of time. Guys like Keller, Hayton, Schmaltz, Krause, Michelli have all been there for at least 3 years, most for longer. Gunther's entering his 3rd season. Cooley's coming off a fantastic rookie year. They finished tied for 16th in goals per game last season, and they'll be better this year. And one major reason why is the revamp of their defense. They picked up Mikhail Sergachev from Tampa Bay, John Marino from New Jersey, Ian Cole from Vancouver. Lots of ice time for those defensemen on their old rosters. Combine that with a New Org-esque feel with the move to Utah, and they're going to be a tough team at home to beat. My only concern for them, they were really hurt by penalties last year. 4th most penalty minutes in the league, and they were tied for 26th in penalty kill percentage last year. So I worry with the new crowd, these young players will get over-energized and force plays, make errors, and put themselves on the back foot. But outside of that, this is one of the few 5 seeds that I could actually see making the playoffs. But sneaking in above them at number 4, I have the Minnesota Wild. This team very quietly went from one of the worst in the league to just outside the playoffs last year. At Thanksgiving, they were 29th in total points, but then John Hines took over as head coach, and they went 34, 23, and 6. They finished the year 20th in points in the league, just 11 points behind Vegas. But considering where they were at, that's a massive improvement. And when you look at John Hines' coaching career, he's been getting better and better with each organization. Losing record in New Jersey to a winning record in Nashville. This will be his 3rd head coaching job in the NHL. The other factor I like about the Wild, a lot of their young players are doing really well. Matt Boldy, at 22 years old, is one of their best forwards. He had the 2nd most points on the team last year. Brock Faber had a fantastic rookie year. He tied for the 2nd most points among rookies, and he's a defenseman. Marco Rossi was an Iron Man, played in all 82 games this year, 5th in points among rookies. Even their star, Kirill Kaprizov, is only 26 years old. Now on the flip side, I had way higher expectations of their goalie room last season. Their numbers weren't great. Gustafsson, Fleury, even Jesper Wallstedt all finished with save percentages under 90%. And it's not like these goalies were under constant fire. Minnesota finished 19th in total shots against. But I'm hoping that last year's performance motivates them for a better one this year. And if that comes together, Minnesota will be right back in the playoff hunt. Now we're on to the top 3. At number 3, I put the Nashville Predators. In terms of off-season signings, they were the big winners. Steven Stamkos, Brady Shea, Jonathan Marchessault. They picked up some goalies to back up Saros as well. Their lineup is just stacked, especially at forward. And they were good on offense last year. 10th best goals per game average in the league. That's above teams like Florida, Boston, Vegas, and Winnipeg. And now they're adding Stamkos and Marchessault to that lineup. Plus, they were hot down the stretch last season. From February to the end of the regular season, they went 21, 7, and 3. They figured things out at the end of the year. That's why they were able to give Vancouver a run for their money in the first round. But I'm hesitant to put them higher because of their defense. Roman Josi is great, but he needs help. Before they signed Brady Shea, there was a 65-point difference between Josi and the next defenseman on the roster. With McDonough last year, there was a 53-point difference. Now you take Brady Shea's numbers, there's a 42-point difference. Having a top-tier defenseman is important, but I'd like to see a little bit more from the rest of the defensive skaters. But there's so much depth on this squad that there's still a good chance Nashville could win this division when all is said and done. Just above them at number 2, I've got the Dallas Stars. This is a very complete roster. You want offense? How about 7 skaters with at least 20 goals last year? A defenseman who can score? How about Miro Heiskanen, 15th in points among defensemen last season? How about big, physical, shot-blocking defensemen? You mean like Thomas Harley and Asa Lindell? How's the goaltending? Great! Jake Ottinger averaged 2.24 goals against this postseason, plus a 91.5 save percentage. They retained a lot of talent. Matt Duchene, Niels Lundqvist, Sam Steele, all re-signed this offseason. Now, some names are hard to replace for Dallas. Guys like Chris Tanev, Joe Pavelski, Craig Smith. But Dallas did go out and address the problem. They brought in Lyubushkin and Dumba at defense. They lost Scott Wedgwood at goaltender. They signed Casey DeSmith. Pavelski is the only guy they can't just 1-for-1 for. That's too much talent, too much experience to just replace instantly. But hear me out. If you take away Pavelski's 27 goals from last year, Dallas still has as many goals as teams like Boston and Vegas, more than Winnipeg or Los Angeles, who were all still in the playoffs last year. So even if this offense takes a slight step back, their defense can still get the job done, which is why I have them at number 2 in the Central. But I'm giving number 1 to the Colorado Avalanche. We all know how good this team can be. I said it a lot last year. Their starting lineup is just one of the best in the league. McKinnon, Rantanen, Drouin, Makar, Taves. Last year alone, the low end of points for them was Taves with 50. And Nathan McKinnon is arguably the best player on the planet. He was second in points in the league last year, and he really carried this offense for a time too. With Arturi Lekkonen's injury, McKinnon stepped up and got 51 goals. That was 4th most in the league. And Colorado finished the regular season with the best offense in the league, 3.68 goals per game. And they could be better this year because they'll get a full season out of Casey Middlestat, who they traded for. Past 2 seasons, Middlestat has been worth at least 55 points. But what's really scary about this team is their defense. 3 new faces could all see decent playing time. Eric Brandstrom from Ottawa, Calvin DeHaan from Tampa Bay, Jacob McDonald from San Jose. So now they have depth at defense paired with the top offense in the league. But this asks the question, how good is their chemistry? Because Colorado lost 9 players to other clubs, and guys like Cogliano and Francouz have now retired. But the key here is that they brought in guys who aren't rookies anymore. They've been in the league for a while now. They get how it works. They just need to learn the new system. And while I still have my concerns at goaltender, there were times in that Winnipeg series when Georgiev looked better than the Vezina winner in Hellebuck. So to summarize, the Avs have a top offense with an improved defense and a goaltender on the rise. I don't know about you, but that sounds like a division championship caliber team to me. And that's going to be it for me today. Thank you all so much for watching. If you like our content, be sure to scroll down below and click the like button on this video. While you're down there, be sure to click the subscribe button to get notified of future uploads to this very channel. And also, check out our official website. That's phantomsportsindustries.com. Once again, my name's been Joe Soisson, and from the rest of Phantom Sports Industries, we hope to see more of you next time.